Come and see the spectacular, one and only Santa Claus!
Come see the clowns in the circus today. Watch them juggle and watch them play. The big shoes and a funny face, they make the circus a magical place. Watch them.
Welcome to the Reality Check. Your host, Ben Shanneman, here with you. Live, of course, for a nice hour of talk here. Now, what do we have today? Lots of things, of course. We start out with the circus music, and I'm sorry to say, but the only thing we have in this circus is a bunch of jackasses. I'm sorry to say, that's what we have today. A bunch of jackasses. Now, so we knew. Pick up my glasses so I can be a little bit more blind than I am. Then I don't have to see myself. I'll be less distracted than myself. So we have Hillary Clinton. Cheated, right? Hillary cheated. And she cheated to beat Bernie. She cheated to beat Trump. She lost with help, and she tried to frame Trump. And she's still trying to do that. You know, the crimes are so many on the list: election tampering, election fraud, election finance fraud, emails, blah, blah, blah. Story goes on. And anyone who isn't a loony liberal wants jail for all involved. Director A, he needs to be fired. And an outsider needs to come in and be put in charge. None of this is shocking. Everyone who knows me knows that I called Obama a criminal. Said, years ago, this dude needs to go to jail for all the stuff he's done, from IRS, gun running, and whatnot. We knew he was incompetent before he took office. The guy had no guts. He never really voted on anything. And one of the only things he voted on was to let babies die from botched abortions. Let them die and suffer, no less. So like I said, none of it's shocking. And, you'll see soon more criminal activity that'll show to you who Obama was. We know who Hillary Clinton is. And the thing that's not shocking but proves liberalism is a mental disorder is Hillary took away the presidency from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders actually had a better chance to beat Trump. Sad but true, but she took the presidency from Bernie Sanders. She cheated every Democrat that voted for Bernie, and she not only cheated everyone who voted for Bernie, but she cheated every Democrat who voted in general. I know some voters left, others stayed from, Bernie, but how could Bernie Sanders not be mad and be done with this party? He, in the beginning, he said he's pretty much an independent. He's not even really a Democrat, but yet still, this guy didn't technically relieve the party. He's always there. He was there, to cheer Hillary on. So is he that much of a freeloader that he just wants to hang on for the free Knish, the free bottle of seltzer water? What is it that, why isn't Bernie exploding? The question is, what was the payoff? Because he had to be in on this. There's no way. I'm sorry to say that he wasn't in on this. If he seriously was running for a presidency, and even if he didn't think he had a chance to win, but, with his loony stuff, give everything away for free, and people bought into that, as stupid enough as that was, and he actually thought he had a chance, you would think this guy would be his fair shake. And for him to put up with all this stuff and not speak out. Unless, the only other thing besides him getting paid, the only other thing I could think of is maybe he's scared for his life, because we do know what happens to people that cross Hillary, what happens to them. Next on the big Daca tonight, Daca, right? Now I keep on hearing, they always say that these kids were brought here through no fault of their own, or it wasn't their choice. So in that sense, these kids were brought here against their will, and I have no problem talking about that and trying to do what we can, especially kids that have never lived anywhere else. But can we charge the parents because they brought kids, underage kids, against their will somewhere, right? Wouldn't that be kidnapping a minor? You know, I mean, shouldn't we file some charges on the parents? You know, when people say, stop demanding, stop saying that, you know, you have the right to protest, you have the right to block the streets. Firstly, if you're a U.S. citizen or somebody on Daca, you don't have any right to block any street. I'm sorry. You want to protest? That's peacefully. That's your business, that's your property, that's your business in public area. But a street, no. You blocking a street, you're holding somebody hostage. It would not be a good day if I was somewhere and somebody blocked the street. If I'm trying to get to work or trying to pick up my kids and somebody's going to be blocking the street because they want something free, yeah, they'll get something free. Trust me. It's absolutely absurd that you hear people on TV say that they should be allowed to block streets, that it's okay. Absurd. You know, that's that one. So today we definitely got to go over the NFL playoffs there. We have to go over UFC review, you know, 220, amongst other things. But as you saw in the beginning of the show, we played the clown music, the circus music. And why is that? Because, if you didn't know, Grandma the Clown, one of the most revered circus performers, Grandma the Clown, has resigned from the world-renowned Big Apple Circus. Now, why did Grandma the Clown resign? Well, if you didn't know, Grandma the Clown is a guy. And Grandma the Clown, it was revealed, pressured a 16-year-old aerialist into posing for pornographic photos in 2004. Barry Lubin, I guess Lubin, I shouldn't have said that one. Barry Lubin, 65, who played Grandma in a wig, pearls, and a lumpy red dress to audiences of millions, offered his resignation Friday, shortly after the former aerialist contacted the circus to accuse him, said the circus chairman Neil Kahanovitz. Mr. Lubin, through his lawyers, released a statement acknowledging and apologizing for his conduct. The allegations, the statement said, are true. What I did was wrong, and I take full responsibility for my actions. So, sorry, no more Grandma the Clown. Another clown down. In the world, people will say that's a good thing because a lot of people don't like clowns. But, you know, unfortunately for someone like me, I love clowns, and this gives clowns a bad name. Oh, well, it is what it is. You know, we can't make some of these stories up. They're pretty pathetic, I must say. So now, let's see here. Let me get my glasses back on so I can look more intelligent. My intelligentsia level's coming up. You know, how come people that know that wear glasses now, like, how come your glasses are dirty all the time? I didn't touch them. I just cleaned them. I wiped them. I'll get my rag. I'll wipe them right now. And 5 minutes from now, they're going to be dirty again. Unbelievable, you know? So, anyway, today we've been finding out a lot of things about the government. And, good one here. We have high-ranking FBI official confirms a number of missing 50,000 FBI text messages, as well as other text and email messages among the FBI brass reportedly discussed initiating physical harm to President Donald Trump. The FBI official urged the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the U.S. Secret Service, to launch an investigation of the Justice Department, the FBI, and all text messages missing and otherwise that threaten the president. This is a dangerous territory, and the FBI text messages and personal phones should be examined, the official said. It would reveal some frightening conversations. So did FBI brass discuss the assassination of President Donald Trump? And if not, what was the nature of the threats against the president from inside the alleged premier law enforcement agency in the United States? You know, Director Wray, who I said should be fired, wanted a lid on this, one FBI official said. Many know there was talk of harming Trump politically, but there's a group here in D.C. that understands it goes deeper. So we need special counsel, Homeland Security, someone to clean this up inside the DOJ. Obviously unacceptable on many accounts. And it's much larger than the text that you've seen and heard from the two FBI agents, or FBI agent and his mistress. So, you know, it's just, what a state we're in. I mean, how have we fallen from men of honor? And, you know, we're not saying the FBI, DOJ, they're all corrupt. The problem is if one's corrupt, and maybe two or three, and they're very corrupt, especially when you're talking about the safety of a president, it's, you know, it's not a good time. It's definitely not a good time in America if we're having to deal with that. Pretty sad, pretty sad. And then, of course, you have Comey, who, I love it. Mueller's going to question Trump on why Comey's fired. I mean, it's not like you didn't know before why he was fired. He wasn't doing a good job. But it's funny, Mueller and Comey are friends, and Mueller's going to be talking to Trump about why he fired Comey. If I was Trump, I'd be like, do I need to say anything? Just look out there, you'll see. Comey now claims his leaker friend that was a school teacher is actually now his personal attorney. So now he could claim attorney-client privileges, right? So he'll be able to claim that after leaking the stolen documents. Nice try. They should be sued, and all that evidence should be brought forward, because you can't claim after the fact that somebody's an attorney privilege. You know, you can't claim that. Sorry, he wasn't your attorney. You didn't state it. So he was just somebody, so we should be able to get all the information. Either way, this guy stole documents, amongst other crimes that Comey's committed. You'll see, it'll come out. His hand was in the cookie jar, too, with Obama and Clinton on not only election corruption, election fraud, election tampering, whatever you want to state it as, but also after the fact, trying to hinder a presidency. You know, treason, sedition, take your pick. That's kind of what it sounds like here to me. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, though, because there's so many sides. It's like a octagon here. There's so many sides to this. You know, so many sides. So, let's see here. We have Valerie Jarrett. Everybody knows her. Good friend of Barack Obama. So, Valerie Jarrett, we know, ties to Muslim Brotherhood, hates America, loves Iran, was probably the biggest peddler and pusher of the Iran deal. I am sure she helped wrap the cash that went over there. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation's files obtained by Judicial Watch, which, thank goodness for Judicial Watch, they're suing all the time to get all these documents out to us, reveal that the dad, maternal grandfather, and father-in-law of President Obama's trusted senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett, yes, nothing shocking or surprising there. Jarrett's dad, a pathologist, and Dr. James Bowman had extensive ties to communist associations and individuals. His lengthy FBI file shows in the 1950s Bowman was in communication with a paid Soviet agent named Alfred Stern, who fled to Prague after getting charged with espionage. Bowman was also a member of the communist sympathizing group called the Association of Internists and Medical Students. After his discharge from the Army Medical Corps and as Obama said, corpse, in 1955, Bowman moved to Iran to work, the FBI records show. Now, I mean, we can go on and on. 2 pages of documents here. Basically everything. Jarrett's father-in-law, another big time. Everybody in her family was communist. She acted like a communist. It's been well documented that Valerie Jarrett, a Chicago lawyer and longtime Obama in the Obama White House. Everyone said she was the right-hand woman. Faithful to her roots, she still has connections to many communist and extremist groups, including the Muslim Brotherhood. Jarrett and her family also have strong ties to Frank Marshall Davis, a big Obama mentor and Communist Party member with an extensive FBI file himself. You know, document after document. In 2008, though, here's an interesting twist where the story gets a little different than stuff we've heard before and stuff I mentioned before. In 2008, there were documents linking Valerie Jarrett, who also served as the co-chairman of Obama's presidential transition team, to a series of real estate scandals, including several housing projects operated by a convicted felon and Obama fundraiser and friend Tony Resco. Now, if you remember Tony Resco, he was involved in a deal with Obama that was illegal, and Tony actually went to jail, and kind of like when Barry Bonds was in trouble, and the guy who was selling Barry Bonds took all the blame and didn't give him up, and he went to jail. And this is the same thing here. Tony Resco took all the blame, so Obama wouldn't have to go to jail. So according to the documents obtained from the Illinois Secretary of State, Valerie Jarrett served as a board member of several organizations that provided funding and support for the Chicago slum projects operated by Resco. So you see again, it all ties in. All these people are the same group. They're all friends. Not much has fallen from the tree. One criminal to another. One criminal to another there. Pretty sad. Now here's an interesting story. I don't know how many people have seen it, but always almost makes me chuckle when I see it. Snottievest, right? It's this guy with a vest, and it has like so many pockets. You can put, your vitamins, you can put your pen, your pencil, a pad, an eraser, a pencil sharpener. You can put your meal for the next 2 days. You can put all your favorite toys, a calculator. Like almost one of those guys with the watches back in the day, and they sell many, 20 on each side. I mean, that's pretty much Snottievest. Pockets everywhere, pockets everywhere. Makes you look like a dork, but whatever. That's not the point of the story. Just so you know what the product is that I'm talking about here. So this is a good one. This is from the, what's the phrase? Now I have to put it nicely. You don't poop where you eat. Clothing company CEO from Snottievest. Now here he goes. So the clothing company founder, Scott Jordan of Snottievest, made some widely criticized comments about his customers in a recent Facebook post by calling Fox News viewers, where the company primarily advertised its products, extremely gullible and easier to sell than other networks. Maybe he means actually a lot of the people that are right-wing actually work and have money to buy stuff. That would be a better way of putting it, as opposed to somebody else who might be on welfare and couldn't care less about that, his junky product, and they're too busy getting free food and free stuff from the government. So Jordan's post goes on to say that he gets to tell the network viewers that they're effing idiots while getting rich off them. So this is what this guy, this is unbelievable. Just because you own a business doesn't make you smart. I own a business, doesn't make me smart. But on top of that, some people that are actually rich are just really dumb, and you wonder how they got so lucky to get the way of being rich with their stupidity that they have. The stupidity has got to be a big block on them being successful in life, and they still get successful in life. So Scott Jordan, right? Snottievest CEO. It was on the Shark Tank at one time, and he got turned down there. I love meeting new people that recognize me and my company from all our television commercials. I am on a ski lift, and the following exchange just happened and happens often. I ask what network they saw me, and invariably people say Fox News. I laugh to myself and tell them that we primarily advertise on Fox because we find their viewership to be extremely gullible and much easier to sell than other networks. The look on their face at the time is priceless. I'm not kidding you. I get to tell them they are effing idiots while getting rich off them. Firstly, you're saying that people are gullible. So basically, you're saying your product sucks. My product sucks, and I can't believe people would buy it. That's the guy you want to be running a company right there. Firstly, shows he has no integrity and no class. And then the fact that, let's say you thought this. Let's say you thought, I bet I get more sales here because these people are stupid and I'm a con man. Okay. Why would you say that out loud? A little bit of brains here, dude. Obviously, I guess he doesn't have much. I'm sure his wife's going to be happy because, she's going to be losing a lot of money thanks to him. And just some people can't get out of their own way. Sorry to say. Well, let's see. What do we got here? NFL, right? You know, so we had 2 games this weekend, Jacksonville, New England. Nothing shocking about there. Jacksonville's defense played really good for 3 quarters, and then Tom Brady took over. Nothing surprising, nothing shocking. It's the same old thing. Gronkowski got hurt and couldn't make it through a playoff game. Nothing shocking there neither. That's the story of his career. So, that being said, I mean, Tom Brady came through again. They did everything right. They got the big plays when they needed it. Amendola stepped up. I mean, White, big run. They did what they want. They did what they're supposed to, and they're going to the Super Bowl like I had predicted in my thing. The one team I got right. Now, the Philly-Minnesota game. Now, firstly, still annoying that New Orleans, poor coaching choice for the defense they had for the last play of the game when they lost to Minnesota, New Orleans, and obviously even worse tackling. Now, putting that aside, I mean, Minnesota just showed you they weren't ready for the big time. You can't stop Nick Foles. I'm sorry. I know Nick Foles throws accurately when you let him, but that's the point. Everybody's seen when you pressure Nick Foles, he's a different quarterback. And he was the quarterback that he was the week before that, where he could barely score anything. Or the week before that, where he scored 6 points. Or the week before that, where I think he got shut out. That's Nick Foles when you put pressure on him. I don't understand that. How Minnesota just, and they scored a touchdown, and did they think the game was over? Didn't show up for the rest of the game. And now my Giants have Shermer as the head coach. Up there with Wilkes. So, as far as Philly, congratulations to them. That's a good win. It's going to be Philly-New England. So, I mean, obviously I picked New England to win it all. Not anything shocking, not anything out on the limb, but I'm just honest with my picks. I mean, I'm not going to pick some team that, you know, whatever, just to pick them. I think New England wins this game. It's as simple as Bill Belichick's the smarter coach. He makes the adjustments, and Tom Brady is the best player on the field. You know, will it be a close game? Absolutely. If you look at all the Super Bowls, 7 before that New England's been in, the average either way. I mean, if you put all the scores together in all the Super Bowls, literally pretty even. The ones they won by 4, 3, kind of like that. Even the ones they lost by 3 and 4 to the Giants. So you're definitely going to have a close game. I mean, anybody who thinks anything different is just silly. Philly's got a pretty good defense, and you know, you look at New England and people are like, why aren't they blowing out people? But you look, they're not overly talented. You don't look at New England and like, wow, they got this high-powered, you know, offense. You're like, no, they have Tom Brady, and we know if you put pressure on Tom Brady, you know, you have a chance, just like the Giants did when they won both of their Super Bowls. That was their calling card. That defense, you know, did it. Now, the thing is Nick Foles going to lead Philly to a game-winning drive? It's not going to happen. You know, because New England's going to find a way to put pressure on. They're going to put pressure on. They're going to be smarter than Minnesota was. And that's just it. I mean, should be an entertaining game. I'm sure we'll see some good plays. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And that'll be the end of the football season. Then the Pro Bowls this weekend. Does anybody care? I don't know anybody who cares less about the Pro Bowl. Like, what's the point? Just name All-Stars, let them be All-Stars, and let it go. Right? Because it's just, I don't know. It's a waste of time. Nobody cares. I don't know a sporting event that people care less about than the Pro Bowl. I mean, I've seen, I don't even remember the name of the game, but it was a game where these guys, it was adult guys, and they were playing tag. And that is more interesting than the Pro Bowl. I actually watched that for 20 minutes just to figure out what was going on. The Pro Bowl, there's nothing interesting about it. Sorry, but like, I don't know. What's interesting about the Pro Bowl? Nothing. It just sucks because it's not the best players. You still have teams playing. You have a bunch of guys hurt, a bunch of guys who don't care at the end of the season. You know, I don't know. It would be I think what they should do if they want to have some real excitement, and I know they'd never do this, but if they wanted real excitement, instead of having the Pro Bowl, and this would be good because it would make sure teams didn't tank. You take the worst team in the NFL, which this year would be the Cleveland Browns, and they have to play the college championship team. And that would be awesome. And I know everybody says they would kill them. These men will kill these kids, and maybe they will, but okay, it'll be a good game. I know I'd tune in. I think that would be pretty interesting. It'd be nice for these kids to meet some pros. It'd be nice for them to get an extra game. You know, it's better for their career. NFL scouts would get to see them. It'd be televised. You can do something with charity for, you know, yeah, it would. I think it would be a fun game. It would be a fun game seeing the Browns versus Alabama. It'd be funny seeing Nick Saban now coach somebody else. It would just be a good game. And maybe the Browns crush them. That'd be cool too. It'd be funny, but whatever. I think it would be an interesting game. It would be something new. I would tune in. I think a lot of people would tune into that. It'd be way more interesting than a Pro Bowl. And it would, you know, for one time, maybe the Browns could get a win. And, you know, they'd be serious about that because no way any pro wants to lose some college kids. I mean, that'd be humiliating. And that's why I think one of the things, too, these teams would try. They would try hard not to be the worst team in the NFL. Sorry, but nobody wants to play another game well after the season on college, on TV, and you're playing a college team. It would be totally humiliating. You know, that's what I could say about that. So now I have a new treat here for you today. I don't know if everybody knows about Loot Crate. Loot Crate, though. Now, it's a box you get, one of these monthly subscription boxes. I've been getting this for years, though. Loot Crate. So I get a yearly subscription. It's about $15. So I haven't opened it. See, it's still sealed. Still sealed. And I'm going to open it up and see what's in here. Maybe we can have some live excitement on the show. Ooh, I hope it's something good. I don't even read my emails to see what it's going to be because you know what? I'm getting it anyway. So let's see what we got in our Loot Crate. Now, box is cool. I always have something fancy, like designs in it and whatnot in the box. And we got a shirt. Usually I think you always get a shirt. I don't remember not getting a shirt. So let's see what this is. It'll be embarrassing when I don't know what it is. But I think this is Rick and Morty. Yep, it says Rick and Morty there. Look at me, I'm already right. Rick and Morty t-shirt. Not. I don't make much Rick and Morty stuff. So that's cool. See what else is in here. Harry Potter socks. See? Harry Potter socks. They're so stinky they knocked me offline. So I couldn't care less about those, sorry. But I'll sell them at the swap meet or something. The X-Files Circle of Truth. And Westworld. And it looks like an adult collectible. See? Adult collectible. Sounds kind of risque. But my loot checklist. Wow, it used to be a book, I guess. Now that people make more money, well, I don't know. Loot Crate doesn't come from Arizona, as I say, because they raise minimum wage in Arizona, but I guess it doesn't affect Loot Crate. Well, anyway, now it's just a little card instead of the book. You used to get a little magazine, and it tells you what you're supposed to get. Rick and Morty t-shirt, we got that. Westworld Super Emo. See, I don't know, is that emo? I guess it is. Harry Potter socks. X-Files card game. Exclusive Westworld maze pin. And there it is. And I guess I could visit the magazine, the Loot Crate magazine online. So, $15 some months you get good stuff, some months you don't. For me, if I don't like it, you know, I could always sell it at the swap meet, or I can sell it when I go to the antique sales. I actually sell non-antique stuff at the antique sales because it's outside, so I sell a lot of toys. Instead of competing with everybody else who's antiques, I bring toys. I try to outsmart my competition. But yeah, next one of those is March 10th. So anyway, that was that part of that. I thought I'd do something new for you guys. And now I guess we'll go to the UFC 220 review. Now, first I'll note, Bellator card was on that night. Pretty interesting. Unfortunately, though, most of the Bellator fights sucked. Sonnen and Rampage. Rampage like 30 pounds more than normal. That fight was pretty pathetic. I don't know. I have no interest in what's the Canadian dude? I can't even think of his name. Rory McDonald. He won the belts for Bellator, but I don't know. Couldn't care less about that much. It's just entertainment here and there. There were a few okay fights there, but in the UFC 220. Now, first fight we had Rob Font against Thomas Almeida, and that one I thought Almeida would win by a decision, but Rob Font actually looked pretty impressive. He KO'd second round, multiple punches, body shots. He varied it up. Font looked pretty good, so that's a big win for him. That moves him to 15-3, and definitely moves him up the ranking. So that was a good win for him. I got that one wrong, of course. Can't remember the last time I got the first fight right on that show. Pretty interesting. Now, next up, second fight, Gian Villante against Francisimar Barrasso, and that was Villante got a KO in the second. I picked him to win by split decision, so I picked the right fighter. He looked pretty good, and he was just all over Barrasso. And not too much of an exciting. I mean, the first two fights on the card, I mean, no big names, and they weren't really super exciting. The next fight was Calvin Kattar against Shane Burgos, and Kattar won. It was a KO win. I mean, he just poured it on, and he beat Burgos. That's Burgos' first loss in his career, so I thought Burgos would win, but Kattar actually looked a lot better than his last fight. That's 18-2 for him, so definitely moving up the charts, and that's a really good record. So I mean, I guess it's got to be taken for serious. And that's beating somebody who themselves were 10-0. That's pretty good. First three fights, like I said, no names. I mean, even some of the prelim fights, I don't know, they were kind of bombs too. We were, we had people over this night before Jacob's birthday, and we were, Jose came over, and he brought his R2D2, so kids were playing around, and Veronica cooked food for everybody, so that was cool. But yeah, those first three fights were pretty bad. So then the co-main event, Daniel Cormier against Volkan. And I knew Daniel Cormier would win. I thought unanimous decision. I knew Cormier would avoid the heavy punches. He would take Volkan down, land him, work him, beat him up a little bit. But and that's exactly what happened. But Cormier got him in round two. And what I don't understand is, like, I know there's something that's your propensity, something that's you're dominant. Volkan is a puncher. He hits hard. I get that. But you're going up against the premier wrestler in Daniel Cormier. And Volkan's wrestling ability looked like he had never wrestled before in his life. Has the guy ever grappled? I mean, how could you be training MMA and make it to the UFC and not have grappled? It's almost impossible. It's absolutely absurd. How does a guy not know? He was so horrible on the ground, and I knew that's the way it was going to go. Cormier avoiding the shots, going down. Cormier could take a hit, but it was unbelievable that Volkan, with 14 seconds left in the first round, and he's there, and he rolls to his back, and he lets Cormier get in the choke. And all you have to do is keep on switching, take a shot, go back to your back, move around. There's 14 seconds left. He literally almost gets choked out in that time. I mean, it's absurd. You saw how horrible his ground game is. And then the other thing is the lack of cardio. These guys have trainers, nutritionists, cornermen, and does anybody say, dude, you got to do some cardio? I mean, I understand, there's like the Frankie Edgars of the world who are in shape and go all the way, and you don't know the difference between the first round and the fifth round. But man, you're talking about the first round, and this guy's already dog-tired. I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's poor training, poor coaching. Like, I just don't get it. Vulcan he had nothing left after the first. I don't get it. And he's not a super big guy neither. Like, I mean, Francis, who was in the next fight, that dude's huge. He's got muscles everywhere. You can see more how his stamina is going to be less. Although it still shouldn't be that bad. It'll be less. But Vulcan, he's not even a huge dude. And one round and he's done? I mean, he couldn't even make it to the... He wouldn't even... If Cormier did nothing, he'd probably pass out before the fight ended. I don't understand. So Cormier, another win. Still champ. Dana White was saying maybe he should go up and fight for the heavyweight belt. I think that's a good idea. But of course, him and his love fest with Cain Velasquez, and he thinks Velasquez is coming to take the belt back. I've always thought Velasquez is overrated. I know how they say Velasquez is in such great shape and he's awesome and he's an ASU guy. I know he wrestled out here, but the guy always gets hurt in training camp. So obviously he's not that intelligent. And I know you like to train hard. I know when I wrestled, I trained hard too. But still, if you're getting hurt before every match and it happens multiple times, you got to change up something. I don't know. I mean, it's like if you went to your bathroom and you took a piss and you kept on missing your toilet, maybe stand in a different place. Maybe sit down on it. Do something different. I don't know. Just me. So, yeah, the heck with Cain Velasquez. He hasn't beaten anybody in the past few years. And stop with it. He's one of the greatest heavyweights. Please. It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. Cormier should go up and fight heavyweight, or Gustafsson. Gustafsson's the only one left. The division is pretty weak now without John Jones. At least if he fights Gustafsson, then maybe, okay, he can go up and fight somebody for heavyweight if his buddy Velasquez can't come through, and then he'll probably retire Cormier. For the main event, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou. We knew, and I thought Francis would knock out Stipe in the first round just because Stipe gets hit. And when he gets hit, he wouldn't have a chance to recover. Francis was swinging for the fences. It was crazy. It was like a jab that was almost in Francis's body, just a little punch. Like Stipe was coming in, and he just like that, he just tapped him, and he just destroyed Stipe's eye. It was crazy, the power that this guy has, and he swung so many times. He swung ill-advised. He looked like Mike Tyson in Super Punch-Out, where it's like, boom, boom, and the whole body goes. I mean, if he calmed down a little, and he would have hit Stipe, he could have put him out. But that being said, Stipe was Stipe. He ducked in and out. He took him down. And I don't understand after that first round why he ever even stood up again. Stipe should have been taking him down every time. Don't even give Francis a chance. And now, Stipe did what Stipe does. That's why he's the champ. You can say he's one of the best at heavyweight. He's defended that UFC heavyweight championship more than anybody else. I don't see anybody in the heavyweight that's going to beat him. Him and Cormier would be a great fight. So the one thing that it was like with Francis, okay, again, I know the dude's huge, but how does he not have any cardio? I mean, none at all. He was gassed before the first round ended. I mean, come on, dude. Do some cardio, man, please. I know I was never slim, but I did cardio, and I used to make it through wrestling matches. It didn't bug me. That was after a few years of working out. Wrestling didn't tire me out. It was like, that was my thing. Is dudes were bigger than me and stronger would pound my face in the first round or two, and in the third round I'd be moving all over the place, and these guys couldn't keep up because they were so tired. And how's Francis? One round, not even one round. This guy was totally, I mean, he was at 4 minutes into the fight. He's like, hands down and just over. And nothing left. Unless Stipe stood in front of him, he wasn't doing anything. And Stipe just constantly took him down, no energy. And then Francis is, like I said, so you have a trainer, nutritionist, cornerman, nobody's telling you to do cardio. Ridiculous. Putting that all aside, I couldn't believe, okay, maybe I'm wrong here. Francis's corner at the end of each round. He's sitting down, slumped like this, and they're putting towels on him, wrapping him all over the place. I know they might be wet towels and stuff, but that's doing nothing for him, man. He needs to be free. He needs to be open, as far as I'm concerned. And that could be debatable. But the one thing I know that's not debatable is you can't breathe. You're gassed. You have no energy. You have nothing left. Your body's getting sore. You have so many muscles. You need oxygen. And to be slumped over like this in his corner, letting him say like this, is ridiculous. They should have been told him, hands up, put your hands behind your head. Deep breaths, right? Get some oxygen into your lungs. Now, one time did I see his corner do that. Every round, it was the same thing. He was slumped down and just, I don't understand. I never went to school for any of that stuff. I just know from reading and seeing and how it feels to, do this. You can breathe better if you stand up or, expand your lungs, get more air in. And that's going to be the biggest thing that'll help you to give you a little bit more energy to make you feel alive. For his corner, and I understand when you're tired, maybe you don't think about it. He's thinking about what he's going to do in the fight. But for nobody in this corner, anybody in this corner, I should say, to not tell him, sit up, put your hands up, breathe, is absolutely ridiculous and absurd. And I mean, just everyone there should be fired. I don't understand. I don't get it. I mean, how could they be that incompetent? How could they be that incompetent, Who knows? I don't know. It's amazing to me. So, let's see. Back to the news, right? So it came out, one of the texts between Peter Struck, whatever his name is, and his little girl, Lisa Page. Basically, they knew that the odds of finding anything from the Mueller investigation were little to none. So he jumped in it, but he knew there was nothing there. And that's why he really didn't want to be a part of it. Struck, whatever his name is. Nothing shocking there. Obviously, we knew that. Let's see. California, right? They're going to register everybody to vote because they want illegals to vote. Illegal alien, Uber driver charged with 4 counts of rape. Sanctuary city, I'm sure he'll be protected. Don't worry about it. All's good in California, right? Let's see. Back to the Stroke messages, right? Struck, whatever this fool's name is. Why hasn't Jeff Sessions, who needs to step down, and I'm tired of reading on the internet all these people talking about how Sessions is so smart, he's behind the scenes orchestrating this and getting everyone arrested and doing this, and you'll see that's why he's quiet now. Sessions should direct U.S. Marshals to seize all the computer evidence in the FBI. You don't think these guys are destroying everything? That's why these texts are gone. That's what you've seen come out. Evidence after what they've destroyed shows you how really bad it is. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the whole shell there. So let's see, California, right? Feinstein. I laugh when people try to say that Feinstein's worth like $10 million or all this stuff. They make it like she's not part of the 1%, not even the minuscule, like 0.0001% she is because she's so rich. And I read all the time, and they always bring up Arizona because I guess they don't really know much about it, but they're like, oh, Feinstein's only worth like, or $7 million or $8 million, this and that. It's like, she has more real estate than that just in Arizona alone. It doesn't include all the other states she has real estate in and California. Her home's probably worth near that much. Feinstein is a billionaire. And how did she get that way? We know, right? Anybody who lives in Arizona knows you see the signs all over the place. It's a certain real estate company, and they're very popular out here. That's her husband. And all those post office properties that a while back the post office wanted to cut their expenses and they were getting rid of property they owned the land on. Well, they were given to her husband for pennies on the dollar, and he was the only one who got to resell them, and he made tons of money. He came to do good, and boy, he did good, let me tell you. Now, here's an interesting one. The Eric Trump Foundation, their expense ratio, on the nonprofit, right, foundation, it's 9.2%. So over 90% of all the money they collect goes to charity. Now I know you'll say he's rich and greedy and whatever. There's definitely is a cost to maintain a charity, and 90%, that's good. I consider donating to charities. That's not my type of charity, but for kids, for animals, that type of stuff. Abused women, those are things that I would help out. Now over 90% is good. So what about the Clinton Foundation, right? They're in the 90% range too. Over 90% of all the money that the Clinton Foundation gets does not go to charity. It goes to expenses. You've all heard the rumors about paying for their daughter's wedding dress and whatnot, but putting it all aside, don't you find it very interesting now? The Clinton Global Initiative, the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, who global warming's out of control right now, should be collecting as much funds as ever. How come their donations have dried up? Did somebody not win the presidency to pay back all the money that was collected for favors, right? Makes sense. The Clinton Foundation took in tons of money when they can do something for you, but now they can't give you this and get this law written for that. Now all of a sudden nobody cares about donating to it. Whatever, it's just me, right? Making stuff up. Nope, sorry. Now, let's see. I'm thinking Planned Parenthood is like the new Acorn. Remember Acorn? They had those videos and they were just trying to buy illegal votes and giving out money, and it was just a whole scam, Acorn. And then that got exposed by Project Veritas and James O'Keefe, and that went by the wayside, and they opened up some other companies that had different names. But I mean, Planned Parenthood's pretty much like that. They get government money. They're supposed to be doing this good, and really what they're doing is selling baby parts to make more money, giving abortions out. They don't want you to tell your parents if you're having an abortion. People think that's all right to do. They think it's okay for your 16-year-old who gets knocked up to not even consult a parent, because you might talk her out of an abortion. You might tell her, it's okay, you made a mistake, and we will help you raise your child. And we want you to know what the love of having a kid is. We don't want you to mess up your body, because people know when you have an abortion, it has an effect on you. Physically, mentally. And a lot of those things last forever. And now you're going to put a 16-year-old in that situation and not have told their parents. That's the kind of disgusting attitude you have from people that are sick and demented in the head. The same people that would vote to let a botched abortion sit on a table and die with no medical assistance rendered. I mean, would they vote the same thing for a dog? If a dog was on the side of the street and it got hit by a car and was laying on the side of the street, and people just walked up and, whatever, it's dying. Who cares? We're not going to call anybody. We're not going to inform the authorities. We're not going to see if we can get anybody out to help. Just leave it there. Let it quiver on the streets till it dies, right? Because if somebody really wanted that dog, it wouldn't have got hit by a car, right? Yeah, that's the disgusting attitude you have from pigs like that. Just pathetic. Now, let's see, what else? What else do we have? Unsealed FISA court ruling show 85% of Obama's FBI and DOJ FISA searches were illegal. Yeah, we know they used fake reports to get warrants, but So now, some people suspect, and this is a good one that I've read from Governor Huckabee. Some people suspect suspect Democrats want to legalize Daca kids because they think they'll vote Democrat. If you're not certain why they think that, it's because they assume that everybody who is still a kid at 36 has got to be a Democrat, i.e. like Pajama Boy, right? So it came out this week that the FBI and DOJ officials use the burner phones like the drug cartels do or criminals. You buy them, you can load on a card, you can load on the phone minutes you need, and they're gone, untraceable. Pretty pathetic. And here's a good one from the Weiner Files. Everyone knows Anthony Hardcore Weiner, right? Mr. Weiner, the guy who lost his job, right? Because he was trying to hook up with women on the internet, underage women. Then he was going to win a mayor seat, and he was going to become the mayor in New York, right? And what happened there? Again, same thing, in trouble. So, Anthony Weiner, right, got caught taking a picture in his underwear with his child on his side. He got caught, and he was sending it to an underage chick and trying to get nudes from her. Anthony Weiner, who takes pictures of himself naked at the gym, or pretty much naked, sending it to the onions. So obviously, most people know he's a disgusting individual. Not a stretch there for me to say that. But there's one person, well, not one, I mean most Democrats, but there's one person who really a fan of him, Huma Abedin, his wife. She withdrew her divorce, pledging her love once again to the Weiner. Oh wait, I don't know if I should have said that. So Huma Abedin pledging her love to Anthony Weiner. How sweet. She withdrew her demand for divorce. Now, do we think they're in love again and Anthony's promised again not to hook up with the Leathers type or the underage chicks? No. Let me tell you what it is. They didn't find paradise by the dashboard lights. What they found is when Huma Abedin gets pulled in and questioned, interrogated, and so will Anthony Weiner for their crimes. The two guilty parties don't want to incriminate. And when you're married, you don't have to incriminate your spouse. That's why they're staying married. Disgusting people. She doesn't care less if he molests children. She just wants to save herself. And that's what you get there. She'll stay married to a known criminal. Why? To protect herself. Ridiculous. Now you see the peaceful people out there. You know, the ones that love peace. Now I'm not talking about a certain religion, but a 56-year-old male Trump supporter was nearly murdered by a 30-year-old male Antifa terrorist in New York City. This happened this past weekend. Saturday night, there was a nightclub party. It was called the Night of Freedom. It was organized by Mike Cernovich, and it was to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the inauguration of President Trump. So the unidentified victim had got about a block away from the nightclub where the Night of Freedom party was being held, and he was followed by a man identified police as David Campbell of Crown Heights, New York. Campbell reportedly stepped away from the Antifa mob gathered outside the venue, because God forbid anybody celebrate something. And a witness says Campbell punched the victim in the head, causing him to fall, and hit his head on the curb. Campbell then reportedly started strangling the man. When the victim was rescued, he barely had a pulse. He needed CPR. He didn't regain consciousness until he was in the ambulance headed for the hospital. 2 other people were reported injured in the attack and were also taken to the hospital. Now, let's see. There was not any coverage of this on NBC, ABC, CNBC, CBS. Unbelievable. I guarantee you if it was a Trump supporter who choked somebody out, you would see it on TV. But here, no, it doesn't exist, sadly. Now, we know that the other week, remember, poor Daca released testimony in an ongoing case because she was sick and had too much NyQuil. So if the boys at the Congress and Senate need to get out the memo, release the memo, we know it's the big hashtag, it shows 4 pages of how deep the corruption is. And this, my friends, is only a little token of what you'll see. In the coming months, you will see enough that if you cannot look yourself in the mirror and say Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, amongst others, should be in jail and don't respect you as a human being, then you're just lying to yourself and there's no hope. And you can truly say your liberalism is a mental disorder. But if the boys need to release the memo, they can sip on some NyQuil and be like Daca and release it, because that was her excuse, right? You know. Now, let's see what else. Cool video the other day of Julie Ertz. She's a Mesa girl, but she plays for U.S. Soccer. She was playing a soccer game the same night the Eagles were playing, and her husband is Zach Ertz, tight end for the Eagles. It was pretty cool watching her reaction, how excited she was for when she found out after her soccer game that, yes, Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Good for her. So, we like it. She's a good girl, doesn't get in trouble like some of the other members of U.S. Soccer. Now, remember this. Not a single Democrat voted for the tax cuts, yet every one of them was willing to shut down the government to get amnesty for illegals. We know it's clear they don't give a damn about the American citizens, but just remember, when you're getting more money in your paycheck, every one of these people were against that, and people like Nancy Pelosi said, that's bullshit that you're getting crumbs. So I guess you shouldn't even get crumbs when it comes to Nancy Pelosi. You know. And then there was the funny stuff, the memes of Clown Schumer, Chuck U. Schumer. I mean, the biggest joke there is. Remember, 2009, here was a guy who said, people who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens. And illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally. And then you have, of course, the new Chuck Schumer, Reborn, who voted for it before he voted against it, because now, whatever. The president's decision to end Daca was heartless, and it was brainless. No, Daca was illegal, firstly. And secondly, President Trump has told you he is willing to make a deal, as most normal people would. We hate the fact that there are kids here that have been here their whole lives and don't know anything else. That sucks. But the first thing that has to happen, and any logical person would agree, is we need to make sure this situation doesn't happen again and do our due diligence with border walls and security in some areas. We have all the technology to make the perimeters happen. And I know it's not going to stop everybody, but we're not here to stop everybody. We know we can never stop everybody, but we're going to stop the majority. And then you give people the right way to come in, and they follow that, and if they don't, they get punished severely. And then we can address the situation with these kids and how we're going to deal with that. And we're not letting in somebody's brother's cousin because their mother's father's sister is their own grandpa or whatever. We're going to deal with them specifically and what they need to have a successful life. They want to be successful here. And not going to have the guy who's 40 years old, who's been here 5 years. Nope, sorry, goodbye. You know, we have enough problems of our own. We have enough people that are starving and need health care and need help in our streets. What about our homeless? What about our kids who have dreams? Doesn't mean we can't help other people. We all like to give to charity. But first, we pay our own bills. We don't give to charity and say the heck with our bills and let our family suffer. We are our own protectors. We protect ourselves first, and then we help as much as we can. And sometimes in life you can help a lot, and other times not so much. My name is Ben Shennerman, host of the Reality Check. Be back here next week on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Arizona time. If you have any questions, you can email me at therealitycheck@usa.com. Have a safe week.